By the time I was 24, I had racked up $100,000 in debt. How did I make my first million? Well, first of all, the fact that I just said first million, if you had asked me that a number of years ago, I would have laughed you right out of the room, because I came from very humble beginnings. There was a lot of need and a lot of lack in the way that I grew up, and I never thought that I would be in a position to have enough, much less extra, much less a million. That felt like such a huge word back in the day. People didn't just have $1 million. And so I moved out from my parents' house when I was 17, and I was already working, and I had my first corporate gig by the time I was 19. So I was very well versed in working really hard, but it didn't mean that I had a lot of money. In fact, it was the polar opposite. By the time I was 24, because I had launched myself when I was 17, I had accrued a lot of debt. I don't know if you know any 17-year-olds that are independently wealthy, but it was not me. So I was working and working. I was going to school. I was working multiple jobs. I was in extracurricular stuff in school. And that's a really tough way to live. By the time I was 24, I had racked up $100,000 in debt. And that ratio doesn't really work out to a 24-year-old's paycheck, which was impressive for a 24-year-old, but it wasn't impressive by $100,000 in debt standard. Well, when I was that age, I had an office mate who was just a little bit older than me, and she bought a house while we were sharing an office, and I thought that was really interesting. I thought she was really young to buy a house, because in that day and age, people didn't do that until they were in their 30s. And I got really curious, and so I looked into it, and I scraped all my pennies together, and I don't know why any bank actually gave me a loan at that time, but I had just enough. In fact, I had to go to my boss and ask for a raise to be able to qualify for the loan for my adorable little $120,000 condo in Merrifield, Virginia. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 720 square feet, and I had to go and ask for a raise so that I could get this condo. And I bought it, again, $120,000, and that is the same amount that my parents bought their house in that I grew up in 1984, I think. So 1 bedroom, 1 bath. My parents have like a 6-bedroom. Anyway, so I bought this condo for $120,000, and 2 years later, I'm still in $100,000 debt. Now I'm in $220,000 in debt. 2 years later, I really needed to cash out, and the market had appreciated so much that it was a really good time for me to sell, and I wanted to move to Arlington, Virginia, which is where I live now. And so I went ahead and sold it, and I made $100,000 in profit in 2 years as a 24-year-old woman. So that solved a lot of my problems, and at that point, a lot of my friends started asking me how I had done that. And so I gave them the same education that I had acquired myself, and I started helping them invest in real estate. Then I became a real estate agent, and so I started helping people professionally, and I started renovating houses. And so I bought properties, and then I renovated them, and I sold them at a profit, and before long I had made my first million.